Hello, AriTheGoddesss here. I hope you all are doing well today. May this message resonate with you, and may you always use true discernment within every message. May the divine guide you and bring you the truth, the wisdom, and the clarity that is needed for your life, for your journey, for this moment. So this message is going to be a little different today. I currently do not have the cards with me, but I am divinely guided to speak about this message, to speak to those who are, that may be going through some trials, who may be going through some obstacles, who may be going through some circumstances, and it doesn't have to be just present. This is something, this may be even for those who have went through this, and you're just, you're in this healing process of, wanting to find out, who you really are. You may be in solitude or isolation, or you may be, just isolating yourself from people, places, and things because you're really on this journey of finding out who you really are, wondering why, asking the questions, going against the odds of what others, of beliefs and what others, feel as though it's true. You have questions, and you want answers. You have questions about yourself, and you have not only just questions about yourself, but that you've been through some things that you want to really heal, that you really want to not just get closure about, but that you want to allow forgiveness. Like you're in this journey of you're on this journey of like forgiving and letting go and removing energy, because that it has created this stagnant energy. That it has held you back for why you're here. That there's so much to life than heaviness and trauma and beliefs and things that that does not serve who you are. That it does not serve your higher self. That what you are carrying is too heavy for who you see yourself as. And I just want to go on. I just want to speak about, because I know I speak about certain messages, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make a part 2 of this, or there will be a part 2 of this. I'm not sure when it'll be, but I definitely want to speak on parts of my journey, like the beginning of my journey, and the reason why, and I'm not gonna go too much into detail, and the reason why I'm wanting to speak about this is because I know I speak about forgiving. I know I speak about letting go and things like that. And who knows, I could be this person that have went through anything, telling you to forgive and love yourself and knowing that you're worthy, and to release, abandonment, and not even been going through this. So I just wanted to give you like a brief, as best as I can, because I know I'm getting better at my stories, and so please allow me to tell the stories in a way that is of how it go, and may if I leave out anything, forgive me. Maybe it'll be in later videos. This is why I'm grateful for those who just stay and listen to the videos, because there's so much depth in my videos. There's so many different truths that I bring out in videos sometimes when I share the stories. And so I see 888 right now, and I'm not even trying to make this video about numbers or cars or anything, but I definitely see 888 right now. So but anyway, so as far as I know I speak about abandonment, and when I was younger, I didn't have my mom or my dad. I wasn't raised by my mom or dad. I was raised by my great grandmother, and my great grandmother, she was verbally abusive. I saw what it did to, my mom. If you hear cars, and if you hear water, and if you hear trees and everything, I'm currently outside. I'm currently out in nature. So forgive me. I really hope that you're able to hear me, hear everything that I'm saying. I'm currently outside in nature. But as I was saying, my great grandmother raised me, and she was very verbally abusive, and I saw what it did. She raised me, she raised my mom, and she raised my sister, and I saw what it did for both of them, my mom and my sister. The verbal abuse, what it did to their mentality, what it did to them mentally. And I saw, the trauma that it caused for them. They were in and out the hospital, they're in it, they're the entire time as I was growing up. Even, I don't want to get too much into that, but they were in and out the hospital, and, because it really had did some damage to who they are, who they were as children growing up. That verbal abuse can really cause, harm on children as they're growing, especially, when they're young. And so I saw this, growing up. I saw what this was doing to them. And so I really just chose to defend myself and just say, no more, no more of that. I'm not listening to that. Yes, it hurt. It really hurt. Yes, it really, caused me to feel inadequate at times, but I actually, affirmed myself. When she say I'll never be something, I always say, I will be something. I am going to be someone. When she'll say there's going to be something up for you, when she'll speak like saying there's she would use God in a sense, and this is what made me start asking questions, because she would use God in a sense and say, God got something for you up the road. God got some, the way you're talking to me, God got something up for you up the road for you. And I used to go in my room and cry, because I used to go in my room and cry so hard, because she would use the scripture of, she would use the scripture of, I'm going to close this because I really want you all to hear me. And I don't want y'all to get distracted. But she would use the, the scripture, thou shalt not, the scripture about the parents. I'm not here trying to make it seem like I know the scripture word from word. It'll come to me. For some reason, it just would not come to me in that very moment. But she would use that against me, and I used to go in my room and cry so bad, because I used to feel as though, wow, like, I'm just here trying to defend myself. The things that she would speak, but, I saw what it did to my mom and my sister. I saw where they didn't take up for themselves, and where, they didn't affirm it, or, I saw what it did to their mental. I saw what it did to their mental. So when she would say that I would never be anyone, she says things that happen to me, or she'll speak certain stuff. No, I'm going to be honest. I would yell back. I would affirm myself. I would say, no, that isn't going to happen to me, and this and that. And so when she would say that something, when I go in my room, I feel bad about it, because I thought I was going against, God. I thought I was going against the word. I thought I would be punished because I was speaking up for myself. And so, I'm going to continue on with it. So, yes, I had to deal with that when I was a child, Also, and that's where a lot of abandonment came from. The abandonment energy came from. That's where a lot of, self-criticism for myself came from. And that's where, that's where I just start to see things differently. But I still ask questions. All right. So, also, my mom, she was, like I said before, she was in and out the hospital. My sister was in and out the hospital. So I definitely didn't have anyone to talk to about this. I had to really just, go through this, mentally on my own and emotionally on my own. And so, as far as like my dad, he was in jail. He was in jail up until like I was 10. He went to prison. I'm going to say prison. He went to prison up until I was 10. And he got out when I was 10. I got to see him at 10. At 11, I got molested by him, and at 12 he got killed. So, and it was a month before his birthday or something like that. And how I found out, I didn't even find out the same day he got killed. I found out days later. So I believe he got killed like on a Tuesday. I didn't find out till a Thursday, and it wasn't from a family member. I found that from the news. I saw it on the news. It was my mom's telling me, my mom pointed it out. She was at the house from the hospital at the time, and she just pointed. All I remember her pointing at the TV and said, she was like, your dad. She called my name. She was like, your dad. And I see it on TV that my dad got killed. And, it really, that did something to me. But I didn't realize up until, grown later on that what that had did to me as far as, trusting people, as far as like what to feel. And honestly, I was so numb because of what had happened as far as the molestation. Like, first of all, I want to believe that was a dream. Secondly, I was just numb to it. And so it just later along my life, the numbness of it just created so much inwardly, so much stagnant energy inwardly that I didn't grieve it. This is why I speak of grief in the cars. This is why I speak of, if you hear me speaking of these things, it's because, these are things that I've had to do. These are things that I'm doing. I'm not just speaking this. I'm not just telling you all to, to grieve. I'm not telling you all to, work on root chakra work. I'm not just telling y'all to meditate. I'm not just telling y'all to ask. I'm not saying all these things just to be talking. I'm saying this because I've had to do this. There's different levels of growth from it, and it's an evolving thing. And I just want to be able to show you where I've leveled up at in ways in the area, and I speak on it for you all to do it. I'm not just sitting here, speaking to you about this and, just letting things, and not doing anything about it. Of course, there are times where you don't want to speak. There's times that come up where you just like, what am I doing this for? Why am I, but all in all, I do, these are challenges that I have been through, and what I speak about on the cards. Yes, I have my own way of doing it. Yes, I have my own way of speaking it, but it's only it's the truth. And it's me being authentic and expressing myself in the most way that I can, and so at the level that I'm at. And so, of course, there's many levels to me. I just have to, of course, tap into it, but this is my way as of now. And so, yes, so that later on, I saw what that represented later on in life for me. And I really hope that this is resonating so far. I really hope that I'm not jumping place to place. I really hope that, I got a movement going. And so later on in life, I get to high school, some things from childhood come up in high school, as far as, the friendships that I chose, the relationships that I chose, the energy that I chose, and the situations that I chose. And so at 19, I end up getting pregnant with my child, my daughter. And, that was when everything hit. And I believe that's where most of my postpartum came from, because I did end up getting postpartum from my child. And, that's when a lot of feelings, a lot of things that I didn't tend to came up. But I didn't realize that that's what that was. I noticed, it was just seemed like a big tower moment for me in my life, when I got pregnant. It definitely wasn't planned. It definitely wasn't, something that I was looking forward to. It definitely happened, and, the reason of, even participating in that act is because, just from childhood of not being properly, not knowing, certain things, not, being divine, guided on certain things. And so, yes, 19, I end up getting pregnant, and I end up, and, that's when, as I was saying, that's when the tower moment came. And, because we were young, there was a lot of things that, happened at that age. I felt inadequate. I was dealing with a whole bunch of insecurities. I was feeling abandoned. Yes, my child's father, he was there, but not mentally. Not emotionally. We were young, this was during the pregnancy. Yes, he was helping as much as he could. And as I said, he was young. He was still doing his thing, wanting to, be around friends, do this and this and that. Of course, I was pregnant. I really wasn't, hanging around anyone or anything or like that. I was really dealing with a whole bunch of things mentally and inwardly, and including I still was living with my great grandmother, and she was still being verbally abusive. So I still had to deal with that. And so when I did have my daughter, though, me and her, me and her dad, we split up. And that is when the independence came. That's when the abandonment came, like really hit me. I really felt abandoned. I really felt like, wow, I'm going to have to do this on my own. Wow. This is true. And this is where that postpartum kicked in. This is where, everything had kicked in for me. Of feeling abandoned, of feeling like I didn't know what I was doing, of not having that support of, what a child, how to raise a child. Because as I said before, I stayed with my great grandmother. All she did was verbally abusive. Like, all she did was like really, and I'm not even speaking of this. And as messed up as this may sound, I still, am grateful for everything I've went through in my life. Let's just get that. Because I wouldn't be here right now to see the things that I see, to know the things I've known, to learn the things that I've learned, and to get through them the way that I did, and be able to speak about it and to help you all as well. So, but as I was speaking about, her and her parent, her parenting, really the only thing she was did was, the verbal abuse, and, she made sure food was on the kitchen table every single day, and, she had her own things going on, and we're not going to get into it, but she had her own things, going on. Like, even when you think about it, you like, wow, that's strength right there, being a great grandmother raising that many generations of people. When you really look into it, the story can get really messy. Really, I'm not going to use the term messy. It can, that's why I speak of depths of the truth. That is why I speak about that in the cards and in the messages, because I speak about that because there's so much depths of the truth. It's not only seen in one way. Yes, my way can be so messed up, but when you really get into the depths of the truth of just different things, you're able to gain that understanding and that wisdom that, we're supposed to be learning from and having grace and compassion for. So, yes, that's when the abandonment energy kicked in. That is when, I really was like, okay, I got to do this on my own. This is where that independent, remember I was speaking about that, the shero, okay, that's where she came from. The shero, the moment that I knew that my child's father we weren't going to be together and we wasn't going to do this together, that was like, eventually it happened, but that kicked in because of that time. And that's when I believe, I remember I was speaking of, I believe I've been through many spiritual awakenings. I believe that was the first kick of my spiritual awakening. And I could have had one before then, but that's the one that I really remember, because I had to do so much on my own, independently, and so, that was the time where, I had to, I was going through postpartum, and, I didn't know who to talk to it about. I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know it was postpartum until something just told, I don't know how it came to me, but I was able to look up that it was a celebrity. And I forgot her name at the time, and many women go through it, but, I remember looking up this lady, and I didn't even look her up. I Googled something, and somehow I got to her, and it was just she was speaking about like how her husband had to hide the knives in the house, and how, she had to, really keep herself away from the baby because she wanted to kill herself and the baby. And it didn't get that bad for me. Not as far as like wanting to kill my child. It was like more so like, it just felt, first of all, like an imbalance. Knowing what I know now, it was definitely some imbalances within. And, of course, the trauma that was coming up. But also, it was just, I'd never done this before. I didn't have nieces or nephews that I took care of. Like, I wasn't around children growing up. Like, I wasn't. So, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel as though I was, like, supported from my immediate family. Of course, her child's father, his mother, supported me, and I'm still grateful for that today as well. But other than that, like, as far as like support, I didn't really, in my immediate, or just knowing that, I had even details on parenting. I didn't have that at all. And so a lot so really what basically, because I'm not trying to make this long, so in that area, in that phase of my life, what really helped me to, get consistent, be disciplined, well, I had to find something for myself before I can do anything for my daughter at that time. And one of the things that helped me was like health and fitness. This is where I got into the gym and working out at home and eating healthy. I was grateful to see someone at my work, at the job that I was working at, eating healthy and stuff. And I didn't even notice that my spirit was watching. Like I was watching, but I wasn't like on it, like for real. Like, far as like, I didn't think this was something I was going to get into until like I now looking back on it, I was like, wow, my spirit was watching this person the entire time. My spirit saw everything this person, because when I look back on it, I noticed the things that they were doing, I eventually started doing. And of course I was asking certain questions, but I never knew why. But that is how I started like my health and fitness journey then, and I started going to the gym. I started eating healthy, as best as I could. I ended up, doing pescatarian. I started doing pescatarian. This was from a friend. She just chose to do it, and she asked me, could I do it? And I was going to only do it for a month, but 1 month led to years and years. I'm trying to not say my age here, but yeah, it led to years. Well, I could say it led to 9+ years. And so and of course my eating habits have changed drastically from that, but I don't even claim the other, so I still claim pescatarian. But anyway, back onto the subject, that was really what helped me stay consistent and disciplined. I did a lot of fasting. If you heard in a message before, I spoke about how I used to fast, and when I used to fast before, it was always on it was a physical thing. Like, I wanted it because it was physical. Like, I had gained 60+ pounds from my daughter, and I just wanted to lose weight. I wanted to look good. I wanted to do that for me. So I did a lot of fasting for physical reasons, but eventually it ended up being for spirit. I ended up fasting different ways for spiritual reasons. So yes, that's what helped me, stay consistent, disciplined. That was something I look forward to every day. That was something that helped me with my mental. That was something that helped me with my, my postpartum depression and, what I was dealing with. Like, anything that I needed to, get out, I took it out, either at working out at home or the gym. And I didn't have a car, so a lot of the workouts really came from home, and this is why I speak about, teambeachbody.com and how I used to work out from Sean T videos. That really, it was nothing to do with 20 or 30 minute, insanity workout. And when I say it was called insanity for a reason, it's because it was. You was sweating insanely. I like actually telling that story. I really do. I've tried telling that story many times before too on with the brand that I had. But anyway, yes, working out with Shanti and, allowing 30 to 45 minutes, it was challenging, but I really liked it. I like what it did for my mind. I like what it did for my body. I like what it did for just overall me, and not just working out, but eating healthy. And it helped me to be present. It helped me to be disciplined, consistent. It helped me even with my daughter, although I still was going through a lot with my daughter and, and feeling inadequate as a mom. It still was able to help me to grow and heal. And so fast forward, my grandmother died in 2018. My grandmother died in 2018, and I may stop it right here. My grandmother died, and just so much other. I want to tell you about that, and I want to tell you what caused, and I wanted to speak about like how it's, I wanted to speak about like how I feel as though it's my it's my fault. And I really believe that the video is going to be called that. And the only reason why I want to call it that, because it's like a real end. It's how I want to, it's my fault where I am now. Meaning, like, holding myself accountable for, you know, some of the things that happen along the way. Holding myself accountable. I had to start holding myself accountable so that I can get to the next level, if that makes sense. Knowing I had to realize that, okay, this is what happened. Although everything isn't all my fault, I still have to hold myself accountable so I can get to the next level, if that makes sense. So, yes, do I want to get to that, or should I do that in like a part 2? Yeah, my grandmother, she ended up passing, and that took a toll on me. I went through another I felt depressed then. Like, that's when I went through another, because that energy, I was so busy I end up, you know, getting the body that I wanted. Not only getting the body that I wanted, but just coming up where I knew she never thought I would be. And when she passed, it seemed like that energy went with her. That energy of validation, that energy of proving myself, it felt like it went with her at that time. Now I got a different perspective on it, but it definitely felt like that energy left, and I went into another depression. And it was tough. But out of that, I still kept going. I ended up starting a brand. I ended up starting a brand. You know, I just kept going. And I just want to right now talk about, forgive me if it sound like I'm everywhere. I want to talk about what this do. Like, so from what I've told you so far, I want to talk about like what this do, and really, you know, some ways to solve it. So what I've told you thus far, you know, what does it do? It creates self-sabotage, negative behavior. It also creates self-criticism, and it also puts you like in a survival mode. You feel as though, you know, self-sabotage, because you feel like, you know, let's say with the abandonment, you know, when it comes to relationships, right? You know, you could be in a good relationship, but because of your past, or you could come across somebody who really, really loves you or really, really care about you, but you cannot see it because you're so bombarded with trauma. You're so bombarded with a blocked heart. You're so bombarded with energy, abandonment energy that needs to be let go, and forgiveness that needs to be let go. And you know, you no longer like trust yourself in that area, because you've trusted people in the past with your heart, and when it came to relationship, you no longer trust yourself anymore when it comes to your heart, when it comes to, you know, relationships. So you could have the self-sabotage is from, you know, not seeing when a person is really wanting to give to you in a proper way. And it does not have to even just be with love, like a relationship. It could be with people that loves you, like far as friendships, far as, you know, even in with opportunities, you self-sabotage that because you're like, okay. And of course, there's so much other stuff that stemmed from those obstacles and circumstances that I've explained to you. There's so much more that, you know, stem from, because when it repeats itself just in different forms. But, you know, I guess I can talk about the root, and there's so much other roots, but I just want to get you to where I'm going with that. So it creates self-sabotage, and, you know, it can, and you can, I'm not going to, should I say miss opportunities? You will have to go through obstacles and challenges to learn why certain situations aren't working out in your life. And, you know, you learn that it was self-sabotage. It's your fault. It's my fault. That's why, you know, that is going to be the title. You know, it's my fault. Because once you, this is why you have to learn what's going on. This is why you have to get to the root. I'm not saying what you've encountered is your fault. I'm not saying that at all. Please forgive me if that's what it seems like. No, along the way, when it keeps repeating itself and you're not becoming self-aware or looking at it, that's when it becomes your fault. And who's to say, and I'm not even trying to trigger you with that. So I'm going to say, along the way, as I've grown, as I didn't become self-aware and try to learn from some of the things, I learned that it was my fault, and I had to hold myself accountable. Oh, and so that's where the self-sabotage come from. Another thing I spoke of, negative behavior. You may just have this negative behavior towards things. You may look at everything. You may be this positive, good, loving, kind-hearted person, and you may be very optimistic. I believe the people that I'm talking to, you're an optimistic person. You're a caring person. You're a loving person. But you look at some situations in a negative. You have your picks and chooses what you look at in a negative way because of the circumstances and the obstacles and the root of the things that you've been through. And that's what creates that negative behavior. You look at things, some of the things, notice what you look at in a negative way, and then notice what you're looking at in a positive way, and asking yourself, okay, why am I looking at this in a negative way? Is it because something that I went through when I was younger, when I was smaller? And that's probably most of the case, because notice everything else you look at in a positive way. It's probably because you didn't experience it in a challenging way, or you may have, and you may have learned from it. But yes, with that, also it becomes self-criticism. Remember, I was speaking about like how I was verbally abusive. How my great grandmother, she verbally abused me. Verbally abused us. And that for me created the same thing for me. I self-criticize myself the entire time, still do sometimes. Criticizing myself. Criticizing myself way more. I believe I learned that I criticize myself more than others. And then I may have that paranoia of others criticizing me. This is something I've learned. So it creates, self-criticism, the things that you may have gone through, that are the root. You've learned that, it's called self-criticism. And, there's definitely a root from it. And that's what I've learned from my experience. And it also puts you in a survival mode. You want to, you're trying to survive. You're trying to get through it because you put in these obstacles. You put in these challenges. You put in these on this path of having to fend for yourself, having to be independent yourself, having to do things on your own, or having to heal on your own, or just do certain things on your own. It puts you in this survival mode. It puts you in this mode of feeling like you have to do it and that you're doing it alone, and this along the way, far as like getting into solutions for you, there's some solutions that I had to encounter and to do when it came to this, and even up until now, these are solutions that I still look to, and solutions, and there's even more solutions. First, I had to believe that I'm not doing this by myself. I had to believe that I'm not doing this by myself. There has been a higher power, a higher source that has been supporting me this entire time, and that everything has a divine timing, and that I am fully protected and supported no matter what. There's things that I've went through that I was not supposed to make it out of. There's some people that don't make it out of postpartum. There's some people that don't make it. I just seen a video of a woman, and this may be triggering for some, but I'm just telling you what I saw. I just seen a woman, kill herself. She had I believe it was 3 or 4 children. She just recently killed herself because of postpartum. I believe they just recently had twins. Some people don't make it out of depression. Some people don't make it out of, getting verbally abused. Some people don't make it out of getting molested or raped, and forgive me if that triggers you. But some people do not make it out of that. So if you have made it out of that, this is beautiful. And you've made it out because you are grand. And not saying that the people that didn't make it out, they're not grand or great or extraordinary. but there's a reason that you've made it out of it. And finding out their reason is finding out their solution, and that reason is vital right now, because it's also learning that you're not a victim. And I know that you may have felt like it before, but leveling up and knowing that you are extraordinary, you are important, and you deserve to honor how important and how loved and worthy you are. See, you may have went through a journey of not feeling worthy or not feeling like you are loved because of what you went through. Maybe you did go through molestation. Maybe you did go through a form of, sexual abuse or verbal abuse or, abandonment energy. Maybe you have, and maybe it have made you feel as though you're not worthy of love, that you're not worthy of anything, that you're not deserving of anything, but you are. And this is the lessons that are being this is some lessons that you will be learning along this journey, or you have learned along this journey. Just because that does not, this is why I'm so adamant about speaking, that does not define you. Your obstacles, your challenges, what you have went through, what you are going through does not define how extraordinary and how divine you are. And this is something I have learned as well. Different levels, but I have learned as well, and it's continue to learn that we are worthy, we are divine. And we deserve to know that. We deserve to be able to live here. And this is why I speak about this healing and these truths and these questions that you ask me, because there's some things that I cannot just fathom of what has happened on earth and what is going on, because I'm just like there. And this is what makes me ask the questions that I do. This is what makes me not even have certain beliefs that I used to have anymore, because I'm like, there's no way. There's groups of people that believe in this thing, this such thing, and it's doing this thing. It's just no way. And so, and it's not, I'm not here bashing anything, or I'm just being honest of what I had to tell myself. And this has helped me get to the next level of, what I believe in. And, and to know that our hearts, and how we love ourselves and others really, really matters. So let me go back into the solution, because, I kind of got off. I kind of strayed off, another solution is, as I was saying, like, because of the self-criticism, a solution to that is, speaking to yourself with affirmations, speaking to yourself in a nicer, calmer way, speaking to yourself and giving yourself the grace and the compassion that you deserve, speaking to yourself and loving that inner child that has went through so much energy, so much hurt, so much pain, so many obstacles, speaking to that inner child and asking for that inner child's forgiveness, and loving that inner child no matter what, and giving yourself grace and compassion. That is a solution. A solution for, self-criticism. Also, another solution is, from the negative behavior, loving every piece of you. Loving every, even the things that you see. Not allowing yourself to judge it. And when I say by judge is in a negative way, allowing yourself to know that everything happens for a reason, and that as long as you continue to embrace yourself and become that vessel and know how extraordinary you are, things around you will change. People around you will change. Energy around you will change. And when you trust in that and trust that there's a divine plan, the things that you see, you'll be able to look at it in a wiser way, in an understanding way, in a more calmer way, because you have a sense of truth within you about what is going on than you ever had before. So, loving everything that you see, allowing space for everything you see, love that everything you see can be a solution for you. And I spoke about, choosing to have grace for yourself, allowing forgiveness when it comes to self-sabotage, allowing forgiveness, allowing yourself to forgive yourself of what you've done to yourself and others, allowing yourself to forgive yourself of what others have done to you, And I know that that's, and every time I even speak about it, because I know, speaking about that certain thing and how, speaking about this certain energy, this emotion, and how deep and depth it is. There's so much depth of it, because I was hearing someone speak about, like, they'll say they'll forgive, but in reality, they be like, I didn't really forgive. I'm honestly starting to understand that there's depths. Just like I say, it's depths of the truth. There's depths of forgiveness. I believe, this is my belief. There's just depths of forgiveness, because haven't you noticed that when you say you forgive something, let it come back. Let it come back. Let that let that memory come back. There you go again, back at that, in that unforgiveness phase, or in that unforgiveness energy. And I believe it's just depths of it. And I believe we have to allow ourselves patience. We have to allow ourselves grace. We have to allow ourselves to really, do the moving within, to allow that forgiveness to really override, the memory and the hurt and the pain that it has, caused, whatever we went through have caused. And also a solution for the survivor mode, a solution. This is not saying that this is the all-time solution. This is just something that I'm bringing, that I had to put into my life, and, either, recently or, over the years, Another thing is resting and doing something for yourself. As far as like the survival mode, we're in survival mode. That means constant. Being in survival mode is just constant. You're constant in action, constant in moving, constant in thinking that you have to do. Your mind has no clarity. You have no clarity. There's confusion. You can't even make the next move because you're just in survival mode. And one of the ways that you can improve this is by resting and finding time for yourself, and not only finding time for yourself, but doing for yourself. What are the things that you love? What are the things that you like doing? How can you care for yourself, in this time? How can you do things that you love to do? What do you like to do? And just finding something that really, really helps you to be your best self and your authentic self in this time, and allowing, and this is why I speak of meditation, getting out in nature, getting out in places, or doing things that you really love, because it's going to help you tend to that self-care. I know you've been hearing about, self-care, having self-care, and self-care isn't just about nails and what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside as well. It's an act of loving the inside as well, and giving to that energy, and but however, whatever works for you, if it is with nails, hair, grooming, if it is, so be it. If that is, I believe that we all are on different, we all do our things in different ways. So however that works for you, even mixing both in, I believe it's beautiful. And doing what you want to do and looking the way that you want to look, I believe is very much key to help you in this time and to help you through this journey. This is for the people who are in isolation. These are for the people who is in, just on a journey. This is for the people. This is for everyone. This message. Hopefully, it was able to resonate. Hopefully, I was able to get out what was needed. Hopefully, you were able to hear some of the things that I've went through, so that you can know that I'm not just, just speaking this stuff. Like I've been, and that's another thing. Like far as like survival mode. Oh my goodness, survival mode for me been since I was 8 or 9. I didn't even speak about that. I spoke about that in other messages of how, like, since I was like 8 or 9 years old, I've had to take care of, people like older people. I had to take care of my aunt and uncle when I was 8 and 9, 8, or 9. I always say 8 or 9 because I'm not sure the exact age. But yes, I was in there just like the nurse. Like when the nurse left, guess who had to prick them with the diabetes, prick thing? Guess who was cooking for them, making sure they drinking their Ensure on time, getting what was that back in the day? That Spam and eggs, cooking them their Spam and eggs, changing diapers. Even in one message I was speaking of, like how my uncle used to try to hit my aunt, and I used to have to stop that. I used to have to stop him mid. I remember stopping a punch, 8 or 9 years old, stopping him from punching my aunt. So, I'm not just speaking about this stuff just to be speaking about it just because it sounds cool and flopping those cards, which I actually absolutely love doing. I don't just be flopping those cards, and I don't believe those messages just be coming just for nothing. I believe that they're true and that they're divinely guided, and this is nothing that I didn't, as I said before, this is nothing that I saw myself doing. And of course I believe that I'm evolving, and there's more to it, but I'm allowing myself to express myself in the way that I best know how, in this way, and helping others do it as well. So I really, really hope that this message was able to reach you and resonate with you, and to know that I'm not just fluffing. I don't fluff. I don't fluff. I'm not just here because it sound cute. I'm not just here. I'm not here doing what someone else doing because I don't know what to do. I'm doing what I was divinely guided to do. And I really hope that you can hear that and feel that and know that. And may this message resonate, sending you so much love and light. May you get it through the wind. Thank you.